Every driver who's been out here more than a year carries the same map in his head. You know the one. The exits you refuse. The lots where you back into a corner and keep the doors locked. The fuel stops where the coffee tastes like the pot hasn't been cleaned since the last administration. But flip that map over. There's another side. The exits you'll spend an extra 30 minutes to reach. The places where the parking lot fills up by word of mouth. No billboard, no apparating, just the reputation that travels driver to driver on Channel 19, the CB radio frequency where truckers talk. That's the side we're counting down today. 8 truck stops drivers actually love. From good to the one worth planning a whole route around. Anybody can read you big city names off a travel blog. That's the lazy version. This list is the ones drivers repeat to each other at the fuel pumps. The places with a specific family name still on the sign. The places where the thing that earns the love is almost always something the big chains would never bother with. What knowing these saves you isn't a danger. It's a missed opportunity. A clean shower you didn't know was $10. A parking spot on a stretch where spots don't exist. A meal that makes your 34-hour reset. That mandatory long rest break built into your schedule. Feel less like a punishment and more like a stop you chose. And the number one stop on this list has a real dentist. Drilling and filling teeth off an interstate exit. Same man doing it for more than 20 years. Let's get into it. We start in Minnesota at number 8, Clearwater Travel Plaza, off I-94 at exit 178. Inside, past the fuel payment counter, a bakery case that's been restocked fresh every day since 1976. The bakery makes between 1,500 and 2,000 donuts daily. The one that built the reputation is roughly the size of a person's head. The Nelson family has been feeding drivers here for nearly 50 years. The driver treatment is what earns the love. You get a dedicated fuel pump and cashier station so you're not standing in line behind an RV, a camper, plus a relaxation lounge with a big screen TV, free Wi-Fi, and hot meals around the clock. The chains won't give you a donut that size. A family that's been doing it since 1976 will. That's the honest difference. At the junction of I-35 and I-90 in Albert Lea, Minnesota, number 7 is Trails Travel Center, family-owned, built by Rocky Trail and his father. The numbers: more than 300 truck parking spots, 10 showers, laundry, full service center. Walk past the food court and you'll find a small chapel. On a Sunday morning, the man next to you in the pew, the church bench, is still wearing the jacket he had on at the fuel pumps. A family that understood drivers live out here, not just pass through. Same goes for the movie theater. Trails is one of the coolest rest stops in America because Rocky Trail built the kind of place he'd want to stop at himself. Number 6 is hard to miss in Omaha. Sapp Brothers Travel Center, right at I-80 and US Highway 50. You don't find it, you spot it. There's a water tower shaped like a giant coffee pot. It's 110 feet tall, visible from the interstate. Steam is painted on the side, and a light flashes on top. The 4 Sapp brothers opened the first Sapp Brothers truck stop in 1971 and installed that coffee pot tower the same year. Drivers still say, "Meet you at the coffee pot" on Channel 19 like it's a street address. 2 drivers at night. One calls out, "I'm at the coffee pot, where are you?" The reply comes back from a truck 3 rows over, already parked under the steaming tower. A landmark isn't claimed, it's earned, and 55 years of showing up puts a coffee pot on the map drivers actually carry. Down I-95 at exit 106 in North Carolina sits Kenly 95 Petro, number 5 on this list, calling itself the East Coast's largest. Inside, 15 private showers, laundry, movie theater, gym, barbershop, driver's den, a cat scale to weigh your rig, and 7 places to eat. The family behind it also built the world's largest truck stop. Hold that for number 1. A driver walks out of the barber chair with a fresh haircut, headed to the Iron Skillet restaurant. His 34-hour reset feels less like waiting and more like a day off. That's number 5. Drop in the comments the one truck stop extra you didn't expect that earned a place on your personal map. That's how I'll know who actually made it this deep. Hit subscribe. The coffee's free. We're more than halfway through, and the stops coming up don't just add a service, they add a person, a family name, a doctor, a pie that's lasted longer than the chain. Those aren't extras. That's the map the drivers keep. Off on 81 at exit 205 in Raphine, Virginia, number 4 is White's Travel Center. Dave and Peggy White opened it in 1970. Bobby Bergstresser bought it, expanded to nearly 900 parking spots, and added a barbershop, gym, movie theater. But the extra that earns the deepest love is the medical clinic. An actual urgent care, a walk-in clinic, on site. A driver walks in off the parking lot with a sore back, and there's a doctor inside a truck stop. A truck stop with its own urgent care tells you the man who built it thought about the driver's body, not just his fuel tank. Before the top 3, the famous name that can't be on this list. Buc-ee's, the Texas-born megastore with spotless bathrooms and a beaver mascot, has banned semi-trucks from its lots for years. The bathrooms are genuinely clean, but the sign says you're not welcome. A tired driver at night reads that sign and has to loop back onto the interstate. Every stop left on this list built its whole business around you. The most famous roadside name made a different choice. Number 3 takes you to Wyoming. Little America, I-80, exit 68. Billboards start hundreds of miles out, counting down the miles to an ice cream cone. For decades, that cone was 50 cents. A driver on I-80 at dusk, wind howling, the countdown in his headlights, ice cream cones. Ahead, 50 miles, finally pulls in. The cone costs $1 and tastes exactly like it did 20 years ago. More than 1 in every 5 trucks on that stretch pulled in. Most companies would call that a pricing strategy. Drivers call it a welcome sign that's lasted longer than the chains. Hold on to that. Just outside Bangor, Maine, off I-95 at exit 180, number 2 is Dysart's Restaurant and Truck Stop, family-owned. The signature dish is a chicken pot pie with a buttery, flaky crust, the kind that flakes under your fork at 3 in the morning while the waitress knows your name. Showers for about $10 are a lot less than the big chains. And then there's the commercial. Dysart's shot an ad, and the outtakes, the funny mistakes from filming, of an elderly local named Jack Palmer trying to say baked in a buttery, flaky crust, went viral. Saturday Night Live did a comedy sketch about it in January 2018. The clip is legendary, and the pie is still there at exit 180. A $10 shower and a pie that made SNL. That's what a family name on the sign still gets you in Maine. And that brings us to number 1, the stop the intro told you about. The same family behind Kenly 95 built it. Iowa 80, the world's largest truck stop. Exit 284 off I-80 in Walcott, Iowa. 220 acres, 900 truck parking spots. Founder Bill Moon opened the doors in 1964, and the place has never closed since. There's also a barbershop, a 60-seat movie theater, a workout room, laundry, the driver's den, and a church service. There's a trucking museum with over 100 antique trucks, no admission charge. And there is Interstate Dental. Dr. Thomas Romer has been filling teeth off exit 284 for 23 years. A driver walks past the barber chair, past the chiropractor, into the dental chair. The dentist asks how the road's been, a real question. 40 minutes later, the driver walks out with a filled tooth, a coffee, and 900 parking spots between him and the interstate. The other 7 stops each do a little of everything. Iowa 80 does all of it on 220 acres and has for 60 years. 8 stops, 1 pattern. A family built the place around the driver and never let go. A cheap ice cream cone held at 50 cents for decades. A chicken pot pie that made Saturday Night Live. A dentist off an exit. A $10 shower. A giant coffee pot that served as a landmark for 55 years. That's a loved stop. The people who built these places spent their lives building for drivers, and most never got a headline. They got a reputation on Channel 19 and a full parking lot. Drop the one truck stop you'd drive an extra hour to reach. The name, the town, the highway, and what earns it. We read every single comment. The best become the next video. Subscribe. I'm not charging for the coffee. Keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up.